What's going on, guys? This is AndrewChicken and welcome back to another video. In this one I'll be going over how to play the support class in Paladins. Supports are a super important class in Paladins that are responsible for keeping their teammates alive by healing them and using a whole slew of crowd control effects on their enemies. While their role is fairly simple, there are a few helpful tips and tricks that can help you become a much better support. So without further ado, let's get straight into the video. Now, the primary focus of any support player in Paladins is to stay alive and support their team through healing and crowd control effects. As with tanks, there are two subcategories of healers, main healers and off healers. Main healers are supports like Ceres, Furia, and Maldamba, who can provide plenty of healing for their team with ease, and are the go-to champions for an all-around strong healer. Off healers, on the other hand, can still put out substantial healing, but struggle more than main healers to do so and often require good coordination with their team to get the most out of their healing. Examples of these include champions like Pip and Grok, since they're more suited to dishing out damage and crowd control and overall supporting their team in ways other than healing. As a beginner, some of the best entry-level healers are Ceres and Genos. Both of them are extremely easy to get used to and can help you learn a lot about the fundamentals of being a good healer. When building a loadout for a healer, you generally want to have as much cooldown reduction on your main healing ability as possible. With most healers, this card is in the form of a direct cooldown reduction that scales with its level. However, on champions like Pip and Grok, the cooldown reduction cards can get a bit more complicated. Some champions even have multiple cards that can reduce the cooldown of their healing ability, like Genos, who has both a direct cooldown reduction card and a card that reduces all active cooldowns when someone dies 4 seconds after being void gripped. If you're just starting out with a healer, it might be helpful to check out the loadouts of some support mains to get an idea for what a good healing loadout looks like. A good loadout should keep a balance between survivability and maximizing your healing potential. You shouldn't have a loadout focused so much around healing others that you end up dying all the time, and you shouldn't have a loadout so focused on sustain that you let your teammates die all the time. While healing should be prioritized over sustain, it is crucial that you keep a healthy balance of each in your loadout. When playing a support, your focus should not always be on scoring kills and eliminations, but should instead be on staying safe and healing your teammates. You want to try and stay away from all the scary tanks, flanks, and damage champions that the enemy team has, so sitting in the backline behind cover is usually a great place to hide while peeking and healing your teammates. As a support, you need to constantly be aware of your surroundings and possible flank routes where someone could sneak up on you and try to kill you. It's also a good idea to stick next to a damage champion in the backline, since they can turn around and help you if a flanker tries to attack you. As a general rule, you should always be ready to retreat and reposition using your movement ability if a flanker tries to come after you, and never isolate yourself to where your team can't easily respond if an enemy attacks you. And always remember to communicate with your team if there's enemies in the backline. VGS is your friend, and alerting your teammates to an enemy backline push can mean the difference between life and death. If your team has won the initial point fight and is now pushing up to zone, the support should always be the one who sits on the objective, with the exception of Io, who can place Luna on the objective to capture for her. While your healing is valuable, it's more important that the tank pushes up, zones the enemy team out, and falls back for healing, than for you to push up while the tank sits on point and does nothing. However, you should always be alert and ready to retreat the second an enemy breaches your team's zoning, and if one of your teammates dies, you should tell your entire team to fall back while stepping away from the objective yourself. That way, you can stay alive and keep healing your teammates to try and ward off the enemy team's counter push. Also, you don't want to stick next to your tank when the point fight is happening, since most of the fire is being drawn towards the objective and you're bound to get yourself killed. Now, the hardest thing a support player ever has to deal with is toxicity from their own team. VHS spam is one of the most annoying things in the game, and it can easily tilt you if you're not careful. If your teammate is repeatedly asking for healing, analyze the situation and try and understand why they're doing that. For instance, if they're playing a flanker and you can't heal through walls, ask them to be in your line of sight more often so you can heal them. If they don't cooperate, then it's their fault they're not getting healed. If a tank is being toxic towards you, try and determine whether they're just rushing into fights they can't win or standing in dead zone, or if you're just truly not healing them enough. A tank should always be your top priority when you're healing, since they're the ones taking the most fire. Of course, that doesn't mean you shouldn't heal your other teammates, just that you should be paying close attention to your tank at all times. Now, if the VHS spam just keeps going on and on in your match, the number one best thing you can do is just mute them. On the match scoreboard, there's an option to mute them in chat, and it can save you from raging at your teammates and performing even worse. On the topic of fun buttons you can press, there are a few settings you should have turned on if you want to play a good healer. Under the gameplay tab and options, you should make sure that Show Team UI is enabled. This will make it so that you see each of your teammates' health bars on the top left corner of the screen, and it will also show you who's dead and who has their ultimate. This is an excellent tool that can help you keep track of your team and who needs healing. You should also have Always Show Player Health enabled, just so you can see your teammates' health at a glance. Lastly, there are a few key items that every support player should pick up in a match. Most healers should immediately try and get Chronos 2 with the exception of Ceres and Ying. Ceres benefits more from buying either Morale Boost or Nimble right out of the gate, and Ying should rush Morale Boost 3 as quickly as possible. After buying Chronos, most healers tend to benefit from either Nimble or Morale Boost, depending on whether they have a huge healing ultimate or not. Of course, defensive items are also super useful, since they can help you survive a deadly flank or push. However, I don't really recommend buying any of the healing or offensive items, since supports are rarely the ones fragging out and they can directly heal themselves, making extra healing items completely redundant. So anyways, that's the end of this video. Did this video help you become a better support player in Paladins? Let me know in the comment section down below. Also, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more content like this from me. My Discord server and Twitch channel are also linked in the description, so make sure to check those out as well. I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.